Hey there, this is Rob Bonfiglio, and this is Vicki Abelson. And we are on Game Changers, and I'm going to play you a song. Here we go.
Yay!
Summertime stars alive, got that open window feeling again. Heat of night, be alright, I'll come alive before the day settles in. But when the dreaming ends, I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. Since age of 5 I chose to fly, I never thought I'd still be flying today. I drop a line instead of dying on a vine, but I guess the child don't go away. 'Cause when it seems springtime, I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. When I close my eyes, I can, for 15 minutes, feel the world on my side again. For 15 minutes, and then I let the feeling in, tossing and turning all around. I fall to pieces on the ground, and I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. I never claimed to have the power to maintain consistent harmony, but once or twice, if I could only the device, I'd set my true intentions free. Nothing will remain. I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. Whoa. When I close my eyes, I can, for 15 minutes, believe in myself again. For 15 minutes, and then I let the feeling in, tossing and turning all around. I fall to pieces on the ground. I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. I know. I get the feeling I'm in trouble again. 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and then I let the feeling in, tossing and turning all around. I fall to pieces on the ground. Now get the feeling I'm in trouble again. I know.
Okay, I can't even tell you how much I love that song. And I have listened to it so much that it's crazy.
Wow.
And what's so great to hear is to hear it live. The last time you were here was to do Women Who Write, and you
That's
were
right.
really, really sick.
Yep.
And everybody on the bill was sick that day, and they all pooped.
right.
But you came.
That's
You
right.
showed up because the show must go on, and you did it. And you sang. You sounded fabulous.
There
that
ain't no
day.
sick days in showbiz.
That's right. There ain't no sick days in show. But you know, you definitely didn't sing in the full voice that you just did just now.
And even, I hate to constantly say, whoa, my voice, blah, blah, blah. But it's been the pollen, it's been so windy and just like,
My son has allergies, and literally he couldn't breathe yesterday. We were out about and it's crazy because everything is in bloom and the wind was crazy.
It's blowing all over the place.
Yeah, and it's blowing. So, but you get no out on this one because that full voice sounded pretty perfect to me.
Thanks.
And for those of you, I love that Rob did this. This is fabulous.
You know what? I'm so sick. It's like, what's your website? Oh well, it's www.rob. I'll spell it out. Here it is. Screen grab that.
So right. So you can take a shot. So let's hold it closer so that you guys can see it. So you can take a little screenshot of that.
Check it out. I have all my music on there. I've got like 5 albums out, and check them all out there.
I have to do this because nobody can spell my name correctly. They spell Abelson wrong and Vicki wrong. And for those of you who didn't see it, the name of this album, and it's actually
got
vinyl.
got
There's
CDs,
vinyl.
yes,
And
yes.
so for those of you who do this, there's this. But see, now I have the CDs, but I listen to it streaming online because I don't have CD players anywhere.
I know they don't make CDs.
They don't make.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So you have to do the CD Baby and the iTunes and all of that stuff. Otherwise, people can't access your music. I don't have one in my car either. It's craziness.
It's crazy. I stream too. I mean, I do use the Spotify's and stuff, but if I like something, I'll buy it.
Yeah, because they're making it so that you guys can't make money, which is they make it so that I can't.
It's a sign of the time.
It is. Art suffers. But you have some really good gigs, which we're going to get to. But in the meantime, I'm asking everybody out there, can you guys hear us okay? Because we had some issues with the sound last week, so I want to make sure that everybody can hear nice and clear, and I think they can, because everybody was sending up love and stuff for you, Rob. So Penny Barnett is out there.
Hi, Penny.
We love Penny.
Love Penny.
And who else is out there? Valerie and Paula
love you
and
all.
Peg and Mary Ellen and Jamie.
Sweet.
And let's see, who else is out there? There's lots of love. Chris Celio, I worked with Chris at the China, he at the China Club in New York back in the day.
Yes.
And I saw Chris was on here. Wow, that's amazing. Steve
Wasn't
Cooper,
the China
John
Club, wasn't that an old church? What was that?
No, that was the Limelight.
The Limelight, I
The
remember.
China Club was right next door to the Beacon Theater on the Upper West Side, and
Gotcha.
actually it's the cover of my book is that corner.
Oh,
but
yes.
it was downstairs into the bowels.
I've never been in there, but yes, I remember.
Yeah, it's long gone, unfortunately, and now it's like some gym or something. I mean, it's so wrong.
I played so many of those clubs in New York that have probably gone. Kenny's Castaways.
I ran the Bitter End, the one next door to the Bitter End, which was the other end, which was the Rock and Roll Cafe, which is now they're all gone. They're all gone. The Bitter End is still there.
The Bitter End is still there, yeah.
Kenny's Castaways is a restaurant.
Wow.
It's wrong.
It's
The
wrong.
Red Lion is still there on that corner.
Wow.
But so many things are gone. And I ran a club on the Upper East Side called True Blue that I actually got married in, and it's now a McDonald's. We got married in the fry station.
Wow. Somebody posted today a picture of Manny's.
Of course.
And then
Oh, what
Manny's
is that?
now. It's an empty lot. They leveled it. It's gone. They're all gone.
But for no reason, just because
Somebody
they want
bought
more
it out.
rent.
Some real estate development bought it out or whatever, and
Manny's was like Manny's
it's an
was
institution. Of course.
Okay, so you're an East Coast guy, which I would never have guessed because you don't sound like an East Coast guy.
Is it just the accent?
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, well,
Just talk to my mom. I'll call her right now. You can hear an accent.
yeah. Well,
I just do it. Yeah. Get the phone and.
Okay, so what do you sound like when you're from Philly? Hi, Al.
Hey, how you doing? I don't know. You gonna get a hoagie? Let's go down to get a hoagie. Watch the Eagles. I don't know.
And eat a pretzel, right? You have
Eat
to
a
eat a pretzel in Philly.
I don't know.
So I'm looking to see if anybody's saying anything about the sound. Can you guys hear us? Okay, are we good?
Sounds great.
They're saying it sounds great.
Yep.
Okay, so
Oh,
look
good.
at all these comments. Are you getting all these? Look at all of these people
Boston.
talking to you.
Somebody in Boston. I went to school in Boston. I was at Berklee for 4 years and I loved Boston. I miss it.
Do you?
Yes.
No, you don't miss the weather though. Come on.
There's something about the weather that kind of coincides with an introspection thing and just like, okay, it's fall. It's time to start studying. It's just a whole thing, and it's like in my blood.
Okay, so why'd you come out here?
I got married.
Okay.
And I wanted to come out here. It was time for a change.
Okay, so how did you? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, tell us who your wife is.
Carnie Wilson is my wife.
Okay, and how did you guys meet?
We met in Philadelphia, where I'm from. What does that say?
Oh no, that's
Oh.
That's
Sorry.
something that I can't. No, that's okay.
We met in Philadelphia. Okay, so she was out touring with Al Jardine, who's one of the Beach Boys, one of the founding members of the Beach Boys. And
Is this before Wilson Phillips?
no, this is after. This is
Oh.
long after. Well, they went on hiatus for a while, and then they're back. But there was a
So
time
wait,
when they
so
got
at
together.
what stage of your life is this?
This is 1999.
Okay,
Okay, so I was still living in Philly. And
you're out of college.
out of college, and I had been in a band, signed to RCA, and then we broke up, and this was like just.
Okay, now wait, is this Wanderlust?
This is Wanderlust, yes.
Who opened for the Who?
We opened for the Who.
Your first band, and you your first signed
band, yes.
And you opened for the Who.
Yeah, it was a one-time thing, but it was something special.
Okay, we'll come back to that story. I want to hear that story. But let's hear the Carnie story. Yeah.
Okay, so we met back. A friend of mine named Ken Sharp. Hi, Ken, you out there? Come on, tune in,
brother.
Why
do I know that name?
Supporter brother. Oh, there's the camera. Sorry. And
I'm looking over here. Yeah, this is just the screens. Let's see if we can get it going here. Yeah. So
Ken was going to interview Al.
Okay.
Because Al was in town. He was part of this bill of kind of it was Beach Boys Family and Friends is what they were called.
Okay.
And when Carnie and Wendy were involved with this and
but not Brian.
No. This is completely separate from Brian.
Okay.
But
for those of you who don't know, Carnie's
father's Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, of course. And so anyway, it was like this day-long event where they had War was playing and the Box Tops were playing and the Rascals were there and it was a packaged little thing. And Al was there with Carnie.
And why were you there?
I was there because I was going along with my friend Ken, who was there to interview Al already.
So you were going along with him
to see the music. And I wanted to meet a Beach Boy I'd never met, and I was a fan, of course, not like a lunatic fan, not crazy fan, not yet, but I come from the Beatles, and I love the Beach Boys to death. I really do. They've grown. I came to them later.
Oh, really?
I came to them later. I mean, of course, I knew all the surfing songs, but I didn't understand the depth of the catalog until later.
But I think that's because you're younger. For me, I grew up with it, but for you, it was not first run when you.
It wasn't first run. No, you're right.
Right? So it's a different thing.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess.
Like Pet Sounds could not have had the impact.
I didn't understand that. Well, I knew the hits from the God Only Knows and Wouldn't It Be Nice. I knew from the radio for years and years, but I didn't understand that this was a concept album and it's meant to be taken from start to finish. And not until later, not until when I was in my 20s, when I was mature enough, I guess. Mature, I wasn't, but mature enough to.
Are you mature enough now? Because I'm not. Yeah.
To understand musically and still take away from it, because that album has a lot of it's melancholy and it has kind of like a longing and like.
Well, you know what? I was going to make you go back to Carnie, but talk about that for a minute. Talk about what Pet Sounds is.
Yeah, it's a chronicling of a loss of innocence. Mm-hmm. It's a song cycle sort of that kind of looks back on a time when it was innocent and kind of longing for that time and what happened and where did it go and where do we go from here and.
Have you talked to Brian about this?
No.
This is just your take on it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty evident.
Yeah, and it has that thing. It just has a magical element of melancholy that can really touch you deeply, and it touched me very deeply. So
I think that happens when you listen to it as an album, when you're just hearing the hits.
Yeah, but I mean, you get it or you don't get it.
Yeah.
I got it. So.
Okay, so now you're with your friend Ken Sharp. You're going to interview. He's going to interview.
Yes.
And
interview Al. We were backstage hanging out and.
At what stage of your career are you at this point?
This was okay. So this is post Wanderlust. We had broken up, and it wasn't very amicable. So it was kind of a rough time. I was in and out of other bands.
Oh, it's Wanderlust.
Wanderlust.
Okay,
right. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just kind of kicking around in other bands in town and just doing my thing and.
Yeah, you're kind of,
I think I was, how old was I? 31.
Okay.
So.
How long before had Wanderlust broken up?
This was maybe a year prior.
Oh, so it's pretty new.
It was new.
Pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah, so,
So you were kind of still licking your wounds maybe a little bit?
Basically.
Because when you get that first signed, that's like a big damn deal.
It's a big thing, And we were only a band for a year and a half before we got signed. And it was a big whirlwind thing. But anyway, so
we'll come back to that. So Carnie.
So I just ran. We saw them backstage. Carnie and Wendy. I saw both of them. And Carnie had the talk show in the mid 90s, and I remember watching it and kind of it was. I told her that I enjoyed her show. Blah blah blah.
Come on, you watched her show.
Come on. It was on once in a while.
Yeah.
You're on the road. You're in a hotel room hanging out. You flip the channels. There it is. And she was.
Boys don't watch talk shows in the afternoon.
All right, I lied. That's not true.
It was a good line though. It worked.
So yeah, right, okay. So we ended up going out to dinner with the band and everything, and Carnie and I were talking, and just we hit it off, and I don't
Like
know,
right
man.
away, like boom.
Yes.
It's like boom.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way it happens.
And then we parted ways or whatever. We never had a formal like, hey, here's my number.
Really?
And then, yeah, it didn't happen that way. And then I think Ken gave me some contact information, and I wrote, it was great to meet you, and blah 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 blah. And then she wrote back to me.
Wait, you said goodbye to each other without like.
I don't think we did say goodbye because it was kind of like we had just kind of walked our separate ways or whatever.
So you just had a conversation. You didn't like.
We talked for a long time.
You talked for a long time.
Yeah.
Kissy face?
I mean, it was. I just met this person. No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. All right.
Not yet. But so Ken gave me this word. I don't even remember. This was at the dawn of the internet. So God, it seems like a year, a million years ago. But it was some website or some whatever, and I just said, Carnie, it was great to meet you. Sorry we didn't get to say goodbye. That was it.
Okay.
And then she wrote back to me, and I remember at the end of it, she's like, "And are you single?" And I was like, "Whoa,
Okay.
hang on here."
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, that led to phone calls, which led to dating, which led to here we are.
How long did you guys court before you married?
A year.
Okay, that's pretty.
A year. But we were also, we're not in our early 20s. We
Yeah.
had come out of long-term relationships, and so we kind of knew pretty early on that it was, we jived.
And how long have you guys been married?
19 years.
19 years and
2 kids later.
2 kids later. 2 girls.
2 girls later, yes.
And
you
it's
go.
kind of working. Although, before we get into your career, we got to talk about Wife Swap for a minute.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I watched today.
Are you up to curse?
Yes, you can say fuck and fuck that Wife Swap, those bitches. You can say all those things.
I get flack for that still.
Okay, for anybody who hasn't seen it, so you guys traded with Tracy Gold and her
Tracy
husband.
Gold and her husband, who were nice people. Great, we hung out afterwards. After
Oh,
the show
did you
stopped for a short amount of time, yeah.
Okay.
But the way they played that, there wasn't a whole lot of chemistry between Tracy and I, so there wasn't like a story. They had to make something.
Okay.
And supposedly, you're with them for a week. It wasn't a week, it was 3 days. It wasn't that, And I was the most agreeable partner in the whole scenario thing because...
Okay, wait, let's just stop.
Yeah.
Tracy Gold, I can say it, you can't. A little controlling, a little OCD, a little intense. Did everything herself, 4 sons,
Right.
everything herself. Her husband did everything with her. They did it as a family.
That's right.
Intense, a schedule, timed,
Yes.
never late for anything.
Right.
Everything, okay.
Right. They played it. They kind of played me off to be an absentee father. Like, okay, we're gonna come. It was like the middle of the day. We're gonna come upstairs. They had set up this whole scenario where I'm laying in bed and the covers are over my head. It was like 3 PM, for Christ's sakes.
Wait a minute, they had you get them
Oh
do that?
yes.
Oh.
And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I'm agreeable.
Did they tell you why they wanted you to do that?
No, they did not. They didn't say they were gonna make me out to be an absentee dad. And
Which they totally did.
Yes,
by
they
the way.
did.
They made it look like Rob never saw his family. All he did was stay in
It's
the
terrible.
studio.
The funny thing, yeah, exactly. The studio thing. The studio.
Yeah.
You're in this. Okay, I was in the studio at dinner time, but little did we know that the studio is literally as close to your kitchen as it is from here. It's just behind the door. So, and I remember they told me to go in there, and they're like, "We'll knock on the door when we need you." I was like, "Okay, fine." Not that I'm like an innocent. I do my.
Well, yeah, you're
There's
a rock and
days
roll.
that I don't feel like driving the kids to school. There are some days like that.
You're a rock and roll
Yes.
dad. You
I'm
sleep
like, yeah,
in
when I sleep
sometimes.
in,
Yes,
so
of
what?
course you do.
Give me a break. All right, but they played me out, and I'll tell you, people come up to me still, and I have to, backpedal and tell them, explain that it's because that's not me. I love my kids.
It's so weird because I met you first before I saw that.
Right.
So, and if I was going to say anything to describe you, it would be that you are the nicest person I have ever met. So, to see the way they portrayed you as kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Just really not very attentive to Carnie, not attentive to your kids, having absolutely no interest in the family life, that all you did was go in your studio.
That's such nonsense. It sucked. It
Yeah.
sucked. It was hurtful.
So how much after they filmed it did you guys see it?
It's constantly rebroadcast.
But I mean, but how long between the time that you filmed it did you see it for the first time?
Maybe a month. I don't know what the
Did you
was.
say anything to them? Did
you?
you?
Because we signed these big long contracts that say you can't. You gotta whatever. You don't.
Because Carnie must have been freaked out
not
that they
happy
portrayed
either.
you that way.
She's not happy.
Of course
Neither
not.
of us. Neither of us.
Because they also made Carnie. They made you guys come off as like kind of
Oh, right.
pampered children. They
And
made
slobs, and the house was a filthy mess, and we needed all these people to help.
Right, you had like
Baloney.
they said you had like a
Bullshit.
whole crew
We had
of
a
people.
nanny. We had a nanny.
Mhm.
That was it. And then Carney's aunt used to come by all the time because she was just part of the family.
Right.
That was it.
They painted
They
you
made
guys
Mother.
like silver spoon, like you guys have
please,
yeah.
it couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah, I see Carney's Instagram and I see she's constantly cooking. She's creating this food thing and always cooking things for the family and yeah, it
was
didn't.
hurtful. It sucked.
So those of you who think reality TV is reality, no, think again.
No, it's not, people. Surprise! Sorry to burst the bubble there.
Oh, that really sucks.
That's not.
So you guys have had this
feel like
long.
Shiny.
You're
I
shiny.
need
But see, I'm seeing us as blurry. Hey guys, tell us out there, are we blurry there? Because sometimes I say that, and then people tell me we're not. So we're not through the camera, right, Pete? Rob is totally not what they said. Yeah, everybody's.
That's lying.
Ah, you love
You're
your
good.
guys.
You're
It
beautiful.
looks good.
No hips.
No hips. No, my hips lie. So I'm
Thank you,
trying to.
Paige. Thank you, Debbie and Penny.
Everybody's saying what a nice guy you are.
Rock
Two
on,
beautiful
Neil.
people. Best hubby. So let's go back.
Mhm.
You're a kid in Philly.
Mhm.
What are your parents musical? Is your family musical?
No.
How does this come to you?
I think it came in a few different ways. I think it was just innate because I remember my parents inherited a box of records from, I don't even know where they got it from. It was just a box of records, LP records.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all kinds of things in there. It was like Junior Walker and the All-Stars, and then Jimmy Smith, the jazz organist, and then like Manfred Mann, just all from everything from 50s through jazz, through soul and R&B and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I mean, I just ate up those records.
How old are you?
5, 6, 7.
Oh, little kid.
Yeah.
What was the music of your day? Like, what was the music of your day?
Okay, well, first of all, I have to preempt, I have an older sister,
Okay.
3.5 years older, so she was always bringing home singles
Right.
and stuff. So we would play records in the garage, in the driveway, just hanging out. 45. So.
And so, what are you listening to when you're a kid?
I'm thinking about the 45s we bought, from Billy Don't Be a Hero to the Sweets, Ballroom Blitz, and the Osmonds, and Jackson 5.
Okay.
There's a lot of great soul music in Philly, so that was always on the radio, AM radio. What else do we have? Boy, we have a lot.
And is she musical?
No.
No. Are you?
But a music fan, yes.
Okay. Are you singing already? Are you?
No.
You're not.
I wanted to. There was also one record that was in that box. It was a Gershwin record. It was just strings.
Oh, wow.
It was. If you look back now, you could say it wasn't like an easy listening. It was Stradivarius strings played Gershwin. So,
Wow.
and I was obsessed with that. And
Really?
I wanted to play violin, and I just wanted the whole. Yeah, I was obsessed with that, and I was probably 6.
And you wanted to play violin?
Yes.
I thought violin was an instrument parents made their kids
No,
play.
I heard the strings, and I just. And also,
Wow.
we used to go to my grandparents a lot, and on my mom's side, and they
Were
always.
they musical?
No,
No.
but they were music fans. My
Okay.
grandmom would always be singing standard tunes or whatever, and they had like this hi-fi system. This was, they were post-war, 1950s, whatever. So they
You
had
had hi-fi?
yeah. So they had the cool, all the whatever. The 50s kitchen was going, and it was like, but they had something. Speakers were all around the house. And
Oh,
they
wow.
always, whenever we come over, they'd always have like this easy listening station on. It was always, strings and Johnny Mathis and all this stuff. And I just
Cool.
have a connection to that because
It's home.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
home, and it reminds me of good times and just and safety and all that.
Mhm.
Because my parents split up when I was 8, so that was when everything exploded, and then that's when I got into rock and roll, and I'm like, all right, rebellious.
So
and I was a Beatles fan too at 6, and
How did that happen?
because Yellow Submarine they used to play every year, the cartoon, and
Right.
I was like, wow, I remember first seeing that. So I went out and my parents bought me the Yellow Submarine soundtrack, and the next album was Abbey Road, and I lost my mind. I was like obsessed.
And did you go back? Did you then go back to the?
Not till later.
Okay.
Not till later did I really investigate all the albums. Not until I was probably in my teens.
Okay, well that's still young.
Yeah.
So when does this happen? What's the first thing that? Okay, so what's the first thing you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a violinist? What is calling you when you're a kid?
I didn't. Oh, shortly after. Okay, so I was 8 and my parents split up. And we moved away, and it was a whole traumatic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I got into Kiss. Okay.
Hi, Ace. Ace used to play my jams.
Nice.
Yeah.
And from there, just like the path.
So
was
you
set.
were like a metalhead kid?
Well, this is pre-metal, so this is late 70s,
right.
mid
Hard,
to late 70s.
So what they called hard rock.
Hard rock.
Okay.
Classic rock.
So
so that was the first obsession. That's when I was obsessed. Like I started to have obsessions with music, and Kiss was the first obsession.
Wow.
And my bedroom was, floor to ceiling posters.
And your mother must have loved that.
She didn't care.
Oh, really?
She was cool with it. She was cool.
So that's good.
She's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you playing yet?
No, I'm not playing. But I mean, that's around the time that I bought my first album with my money. And I think it was Kiss Alive 2. It was either that or there was a repackaging of their first 3 albums called The Originals. And I remember buying it at, was it Woolco? It was called, a place called Woolco. It's basically Woolworths, but became, I don't know, it's like a bastardization of Woolworths.
Wow, I don't remember
Woolco.
Woolco.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, years later, I climbed on the roof. It was like a department store, and my friends and I climbed on the roof, and we got arrested. It was fun. But that's bad.
We want to hear those stories too.
Wow.
Okay, so
yes, so
obsessed with
Kiss.
And so how old
tennis
are you?
rackets, in the mirror with friends. My basement was a Kiss thing, and I was in the Kiss army. I bought everything I could, and we would have
How
Kiss
old are
parties.
you?
I'm 10.
Oh wow, you're little.
11.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 or 11. But shortly thereafter, my sister brought home Cheap Trick at Budokan. Kiss posters were gone. It was Cheap Trick.
Wow.
Obsessed with Cheap Trick. And that kind of brought me into, okay, I want a guitar now. And I was probably 12 when I got my first guitar, the 7th grade.
So did you get an electric guitar? Did you get
I got an electric guitar.
You got an electric
Yes,
guitar
I did.
right
I remember
away.
it was K, brand K. It was kind of like an SG copy. And
What color was it?
It was red, cherry red.
Yes, it was. Okay.
And I studied at the local music store, Fretz's Music, right in Souderton, up at the 113 and 309. It's probably still there. It's probably still there. And I remember Carol, I can't remember her last name, was my teacher. She was cool. And I
Did
studied.
she let you play rock and roll?
Yeah, it was like.
Was she trying to teach you like?
I think she was privy to my interests in rock, but
Okay.
she also wanted to, you have to have foundation, you got to learn to these playing single notes, because I didn't know how to do anything.
So you learned how to read music.
Yeah, I mean, I studied with her maybe 6 months and I quit. So.
Okay, that's good.
And I was like, I just want to be in a band. So we were in a study hall band together. We had our things. This is the band. The name of the band is this, and I think we were called TNT or something. But we never actually played together. But everything was plotted out though. I'm the rhythm guitarist, and you're the lead guitar player. He'll be the singer. We never actually played.
Could somebody play lead?
No,
not at 10
But
years
it
old.
was like a fantasy. Like this is what we want to do. This is 7th grade.
And so, like, what kind of music did you guys want to play?
The Who,
Did you play?
Stones.
Okay.
You name it.
That's
and this
pretty
also
ambitious.
kind of corresponds to when I started going to see concerts and when I started smoking pot and the whole thing. And
Okay, so what was your first concert?
First concert was Van Halen at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, 1981, July 26th. It was the Fair Warning Tour. Yes. My second concert, it was a couple months later, it was the Rolling Stones at JFK, Tattoo You, Saturday, September 26th, 1981. Big deal there. It was
I can't believe you remember the dates.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, yes, you do. Was
Yes.
seeing the Stones life changing?
Yes.
Yeah. Holy
Yes.
shit, yeah.
It was just like, welcome to debauchery, because it was, JFK Stadium was an outdoor stadium. It was like a horseshoe-shaped stadium. And there was like 90,000 people there. It was a record-breaking attendance
Oh
thing.
my God.
And there was Hell's Angels there. There was every level of
You don't want the Stones and the Hells
substance.
Angels in the
Well,
same
no,
place.
but for some reason, I know, Altamont.
Yeah.
I don't know why there was just a lot of bikers and a lot of just like I just remember there's a lot of vomit everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like people were drunk. There was people walking up and down selling pot
my
and weed and
God.
acid and everything. I'm 13, 14. No, was I 13? I must have been 13. But I think we brought our own weed to that show. We took the train in. It was crazy. I mean, it was like, wow, this is heavy duty.
And how old are you then?
13 or 14.
And you're smoking pot. That's when I
Yep.
started smoking pot,
Yep.
which changes sort of everything.
But it wasn't like we were all our own peer group together. There wasn't like some guy giving us peer. We all did it together.
Right.
So it was fun. Everything was fun. There was no bad. I never really went beyond weed and pot. I remember I had bought a bag of Sense of Meat. Remember Sense of Meat?
Of course I remember Sense of Meat. Sure.
It was. And we smoked the whole
They don't.
thing.
The kids today, they don't know what that is. But
I don't know what it is either. It was some kind of stronger
today,
weed or
if you
something.
smoked a whole bag of weed, you'd probably be dead. The
It's
pot
right,
that is
you're
now. I
right.
mean, I haven't smoked
It's
in a-
regulated and it's
a whole
pure
bag of
whatever.
pot. We used to be able to smoke a whole bag
That's
of
what
pot.
we did, I
Yeah.
remember. And just being like, it was like we couldn't get off the couch kind of thing. Like, oh my God. And I remember one time those friends of mine, we smoked something and I don't know what the heck. They made me walk to like the local delicatessen to get something and I was just like, it's like you're on the conveyor belt. I'm not going anywhere. And I'm 13, I didn't know. It's like, Jesus. So anyway, by the time junior high school was over, I was done. I was like, that was fun, I'm done.
Oh, really?
And everybody else just started getting into their like.
Wait, you were done after junior high? I'm so
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, I smoked once in a while. I had it here and there and whatever, but it wasn't the same. Like, I'm what they call a normie.
Wow. I'm so impressed. I'm not, however, but
Better or worse.
I'm not. Happy 17th birthday to me on
Good for
Sunday.
you.
Yes. And pot was the drug of choice.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
so that's incredible that you stopped right away. Okay, and so what?
I can't help but think that I smoked all that in a very developmental time in my mind. So I might have like messed something up. I don't know.
It looks like
Maybe
you
that was
don't
the
care.
obsession with music that led me on that. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it all worked out pretty well for you.
I guess.
Okay, so you get out of junior high. The band never really played that you had formed.
The band, right? Well, by junior. Okay, so by then. Okay.
Are
I'm
you
talking-
playing rhythm? Are you the rhythm guitarist at that time?
At this point, I ran off with another guitar buddy, and we really started getting serious about learning how to play.
And so and
it was
how
all
are
about
you?
Led Zeppelin and
How?
everything.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
And how are you
Black
learning
Sabbath.
to play lead? Are you doing it by ear?
Just hearing the records. Yep, and jamming together.
Wow.
And-
And are you reading? You're not reading music?
No, not yet, because I didn't
Okay.
re-enter my studies.
Okay.
I did that later on when I started to get into jazz. I'm
Okay,
a
there's jazz coming.
I'm still to this very day a jazz nut, and that's all I play. So. It's
Okay,
my
I
life
did
and
not
my
like.
life. Yeah,
But you
It's a kind of-
you put out pop music.
I love that too. It's kind of a
I mean,
duplicitous life.
You're
It's
great.
a
Have you put out a
duplicitous life.
jazz album?
No, I have not, but that's in the cards.
Is that so?
Not,
I did
yeah,
not
we're
know
talking,
this about
yeah,
you.
Yeah. Not smooth jazz. Blue
Like-
Note Records, Prestige, Coltrane Miles.
Okay, because progressive jazz, I don't understand.
Prog rock, that was something else I went through as well. That was a
Oh.
phase. Rush and Genesis, yes. Yeah,
I love all of
sure.
that stuff.
So do I.
But progressive jazz, I don't
I don't know
understand.
what progressive jazz is. What is that like?
Progressive
fusion?
jazz is when it's all like weird stuff that doesn't connect.
Ah!
Is how I think
I
of
remember
it.
asking my mom years when I was little, like, what is jazz, Mom? And she's like, it's where everybody just plays together and it just makes a big noise. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
Well, how would you describe jazz?
Jazz is a communicative art
Ooh.
that is improvisation based, and it's a language. And just like any language, you have dialects. Okay, so you do. You might have straight ahead jazz, bebop, post bop.
Right.
We're talking like Art Blakey and then Wynton Marsalis. He's kind of a different cat, but
What different cat? How?
he was very much a champion of like post bop jazz when the 80s
What is
post bop would be like everything that came after like Charlie Parker and the guys who originated bebop.
Okay.
Bebop is it's heavy improvisation over chord changes going very fast. So they'll take a song like Honeysuckle Rose
Mhm.
and who will turn it
Can
into
you play something for us?
Oh, yeah, I could.
Yeah, play us some jazz. Play us some cool jazz. Not you don't play cool jazz.
like I said, it's a dialect. It's a dialect of jazz. Cool jazz could mean Stan Getz, could mean West Coast jazz from the 50s, like.
Play.
I can't say, oh, here's cool jazz. Here's
Okay,
this. But so I'll sit at home and I'll just play, whatever, I don't know.
I like this.
So you're speaking the language over the chord changes, okay? So you got a B minor major 7 or B minor 6. So you're gonna play that kind of stuff. So you're speaking a language over chord changes. So and these chord changes they could be based on, most of the repertoire is based on standard tune harmony. Standard tune harmony, like a song called All the Things You Are, which is an old show tune from some movie. So it's like. It's just like.
And when are you getting hip to jazz?
I got hip to jazz in high school because I studied with a teacher who went to Berklee College of Music in Boston and kind of was steering me in that direction.
I see.
And my ears just like exploded because I was so into music and I just really absorbed everything around me. And jazz, I just ate it up. There's like gateway music that leads you into that kind of thing.
So I'm trying to what makes somebody go from Zeppelin and the Stones to develop it, because that's a very sophisticated taste. So
I guess it is. I mean, it could come from music I remember hearing when I was young and falling in love with. Philadelphia is a huge jazz town. So many great players had come out of Philly. Lee Morgan and John Coltrane lived there for years. Bobby Timmons, just like it's endless. There's so many great players. So it's that tradition is just steeped in just being there, I guess. If your ears and eyes are open to it, it's there.
And are you listening to that music?
I'm being turned on to this music. There's a radio station called WRTI. I don't know if I think it's still there. WRTI was the Temple University station that played jazz, and they used to play jazz 24/7. So I would tune in, I would leave the radio on all night and listen to this, and I remember they would have these special shows where they'd at 4 a.m. they'd play Anthony Braxton, free jazz kind of stuff. And it was just fascinating to me. I love it. The music it just draws you in, and I just fell in love with it. And it corresponds to being a musician and playing and learning all your scales, and it just became one to me.
It's still there.
Absolutely.
WRTI.
Yeah.
WRTI. Somebody
Yeah,
just
still
came
there.
on and told us that?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
Oh.
And I gotta say, WRTI. There was a guy, Harrison Ridley Jr. had a show on WRTI on Sunday nights. It was called what was it called? Positive Effect. It was something, but he would play he had a vast record collection. He would just play whatever he wanted. This was freeform jazz radio. He would curate each show, and he passed away years ago. But I mean, those are my heroes.
Freeform radio was oh my God.
Yeah, what was that? I mean, it was that.
Yeah. And especially college stations where they had total freedom. Yeah.
They since when I left Philly 20 years ago, they had gone half classical, half it started to water down a little bit. I don't know where it is now, but I mean, those cats were the ones that I tuned into and listened to and turned me on to. It's what led me to the next level in my development of music.
So how did you figure out that you could play by ear? How does that happen?
It's it was always there.
It was just there.
Yeah, I mean, I learned more by. You can go to school for your whole life if you don't have the ears to understand and you can spout off technical stuff all you want, but if it's not here and in your brain and in your heart, it's useless.
So when you hear something, when
I'm playing,
when you are listening to music, can you?
I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes also I have kind of a synesthesia. Is that what it's called?
I don't know. What's that?
Well, it's where one sense kind of like certain music I see certain colors.
Yes, I know about this from Steve Dorff told me about.
It could be anything.
That.
It could be.
Yeah.
But I have that to a degree. To a degree I have that. So some music will be attractive to me, and Happens to be a certain shade of color, I don't know, or sound. It could be anything from a tidbit of music to pieces of music. I don't know.
Do you remember the first thing that you listened to that you sat down and you taught yourself to play?
Yeah, I think it was a Tom Petty. I think it was.
Steve Ferroni was here a couple weeks ago.
I know he was. I played with Steve Ferroni.
Oh, what a monster! I love you, Steve.
Don't have to live like a refugee. There's a couple licks in there that Mike Campbell played that I remember. Oh, whoa!
Oh.
I don't remember what it was exactly.
And like, so you taught yourself to like bend notes and like do all that stuff?
Yeah. I taught. And then I was into Yes. This was around '79. Yes, Drama. I had it on 8-track. Drama, which was kind of like the dark horse in their catalog of music, because John Anderson left the band and it was Trevor Horn came in and took his place, and I think that's a great album. And there was one song called Tempest Fugit, and it was like, and I remember learning that, and like it came really easy. I'm like, whoa! And so that's all I played for like a month. I don't know. So I knew I kind of had an ear, and I was able to pick stuff out and learn stuff out.
And so when do you start studying again? In high school?
Yeah, in high school.
And so this teacher then is feeding you jazz and sort of giving you
and he went to Berklee College of Music, so it was like, you would do well there. And also, I got to back up a little bit.
Okay.
In high school, there are a couple of select few players guitar players, for whatever reason, whether it's in the water, I don't know, because the suburbs where I grew up, we were in this farm country. We're out there.
Okay.
But there's one guy, Pete Smizer, who was just magical player. He's a jazz guitarist to this day, and it was always kind of like, damn, I want to be as good as that guy, But I don't think I quite had. I was still kind of.
Well, but you've got your feet in a few genres, so it's.
But we also had, I did. But we also kind of helped each other out. Not just me and Pete, but also other players would just inspire one another, whether directly or indirectly. So those guys are kind of like the biggest inspirations. It's like, I'm gonna be good too, man. Watch this.
And so what did that look like for you? That's an important.
It's a real pure thing. I mean, it's
like how much were you play? Like, would you get home from school? Are you like?
Oh yeah.
You're playing all the time.
Yes, but it also played into being introverted. I'm an introverted person. I'm shy. I don't like, I wouldn't go out maybe on a Friday night. I'd just stay home and play or whatever. Because, and it took me also a long time to feel comfortable playing in front of anybody, because there's.
How did that start? What's your first band?
Wow. My first band, I think, was Triton. We were like a metal, kind of a proto-metal band. This is 1983.
Okay.
We were into Ozzy and all that stuff, so it was kind of like that. That's what I want to be, man. And we practiced. We were together for about a year or so, 2 years maybe.
And so are you playing like parties,
yes.
proms, or I don't know, what do you
Not
play?
even that, but like parties and things,
yeah,
and mostly we just practiced a lot.
And so.
But that was the first, real instruments. Here we are.
Lead guitar?
Yeah.
You're playing lead guitar. And so are you realizing that this is a way to get girls? Has that happened yet? Or is that not so much yet?
Yeah, I don't think that ever happened.
No!
I'm still waiting for that to happen. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That was always kind of like a periphery. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Well, no, a lot of musicians who have been in this living room have said that was like the inspiration for starting to play.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's as an introvert, this is an extroverted way to communicate,
Yes.
And to this day, I feel more comfortable on stage than I do off, for what it's worth, to a degree.
Although, it's interesting because I wouldn't say that about you.
Oh, believe me,
I'm doing an analogy thing.
Right. You learn to adapt over the years. You learn to adapt.
Because you're really good at conversation.
I am, but it's an adaptive process that I've learned.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
And also,
I'm not saying that this is uncomfortable. It's not, but there are. You're right. Bless you.
I'm totally having allergies. And while I am, I'm going to give a shout out. You'll be on our next tissue box. Rick Smolke of Quick Impressions of Chicago. Rick, I just saw that I had a Facebook memory today from 2012 of you sending these boxes to us because Mackenzie Phillips wrote a book about her dad, and she made us all cry. And people said, you should have tissue box. You should have Rick, your swag guy, make tissue boxes, and he did. Mackenzie's on here.
Max.
Yeah.
She's a sweet woman.
And yeah, so
You know, she's sisters of Carnie Phillips. So we're all
you
kind of-
have yes, your family. She's
Yeah.
mashpucha, as we say in Jewish.
That's right.
I love Mac. She's amazing, and a sober woman as well,
Yeah,
who's
good
done
for her.
amazing
Awesome,
things in
yeah.
sobriety.
Absolutely.
And so yeah. So Rick makes all my stuff, and so if you ever need, I know you. Do you self-produce?
My records?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so if you ever need stuff done, I say this every week, and no one ever takes me up on it. But Rick will like do your liner notes, he'll do your CD things, and he's never charged a musician.
Wow.
He is a total artist, appreciator and helper, facilitator. So
Nice.
Rick Smolke of Quick Impressions of Chicago. If you need anything done, even if you're not a musician, he will be great to you because he's just that kind of guy. He's the reason that we do the PSA for the veterans. He's
Nice.
just a very philanthropic, wonderful
Good
guy.
for
And
him.
then there's my hairdresser,
Love that.
who
Love that.
has it's called Hair Crush Love.
Fuck off.
Fuck off. That's what it's called, her hairspray. And it's Nicole Venables of the Ruby Begonia Salon, and she keeps me coiffed, and she's
For you.
fantastic.
For you.
And she's wonderful. She does a lot of.
Can somebody coif my hair?
Your hair's great.
You know who
though.
coiffs my hair?
Who?
I coif my hair.
No, you don't.
I do.
How do you cut the
I have
back?
I have a Flowbee.
Okay, I don't even understand those things.
It's a thing you can hook up to the vacuum cleaner. You get sucks at the hair, and then there's a blade that cuts it.
How do you?
It's just all one length.
How do you?
It's all one length.
It just. But what?
My hair is messy enough and thick enough so you can't really tell that it's
No,
just
it
all
looks
one length.
really good. But how does it you not end up with like a shaved head when you?
Well, there's like these adaptive pieces that you can put on it. They're like an inch or whatever. You can set the size.
Do you know
It's
about
crazy.
these?
Oh, totally. I
Pete's
haven't had a
been
proper
compla-
haircut in 20 years.
Pete is complaining that he can't get a hair appointment until next week. Pete, you need a Flowbee.
I'm coming over.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
The Hoover doesn't work with scissors. I tried.
Okay, so Pete, we haven't talked to you yet. Pete George is behind the camera. Pete, come on over.
All right,
and say
coming
hello
over.
and tell us where you're going to be. Where's the gig, Pete?
By the way, last week was awesome. Friday, 600 people at the Abbey Casino in Laughlin.
Nice.
Rockin' show.
Yeah. Pete is the rock and roll comedian. He plays
very
guitar
cool.
and
Electric guitar, my
Nice.
stand-up show.
Excellent.
It's quite different.
And so where are you going to be, Pete?
I am in San Clemente at
Ooh,
Adele's
don't go to jail.
on the 27th.
Okay.
And then May 5th, I'm in a new club doing 2 shows, Rockies in Temecula.
Temecula.
And then we're working on shows at the MGM in Cleveland. So
Nice.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
that's
Fun.
all I got.
It's Pete George.
Hey.
And Pete, and thank you for doing
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. This is fun. It's great. Isn't he awesome? Talented.
He is. So Pete,
Yeah.
does anybody have questions for? I
Yeah.
haven't been looking. Do we have questions? This is a good time to take a break and talk and do questions.
We have questions.
Awesome
I've
jazz.
actually saved them.
Oh, good. Thank you.
My
Okay,
major in
ready.
college was jazz guitar.
Say that again.
Somebody asked a question.
Oh.
My major in college was jazz.
Jazz guitar.
So your major in okay. So your high school teacher kind of led you to start jazz. Was he the one who influenced you to do Berklee as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was an outside teacher, but this was when I was in high school.
Oh, it was an outside teacher.
Outside, yeah. I worked at a local music store kind of thing.
And so in high school, you're doing the metal
Mhm.
yeah, you're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? What else are you doing musically? Is that your thing?
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Yeah, that's it.
And how does pop music come into your?
Just-
Because this album is so. I mean, like you have so many hits on that album. It's ridiculous.
Thanks.
Yeah, it is.
It's
And,
just
and again, it's called Trouble Again.
It's Trouble Again. You can
It's
buy it on my
whoops.
website.
Trouble Again. You can buy it at
Screen grab that.
Screen grab that. Okay.
It's just music that's in my soul. I don't know. I grew up with classic rock, and I don't know.
What was the pop music that turned you on besides the Beach Boys and?
Went back in the day, or
Yeah, whatever. What pop? What pop music drive?
jeez.
What comes on that you go? Oh yeah. You know, it's like the Turtles, like
Oh, yeah, sure.
the Cowsills. I love the Cowsills.
I love them. I saw them last week.
Yeah.
So wonderful.
I love you, Bob.
Bob's a doll.
Hey, Jamie wants to know if you're on Spotify.
Yes, I am.
Perfect.
Spotify.
And Paige Simonson said, when can I get Rob to come here to Oahu and perform?
Oh. Not a bad place.
And
to
then
go.
she
I'm
said,
there.
then she said, Rob can send me my check. LOL.
Oh.
Super fan.
So pop music?
Yeah.
God, I don't know. Here, I'll
So
look
like,
at what I listened to last on my
so
Spotify
what was
playlist.
the pop music like when you were? Because I think the music that influences us the most is the music that we hear when we're like 10, 11, 12, that kind of music. So, you know, for me it was the Turtles and the Stones and the Beatles and all of that stuff. So,
Same for me.
really?
Stones and the Who and the Kinks.
Yeah.
And 79, Led Zeppelin, 79, 80 was a great year for music.
Mm-hmm.
Pink Floyd, The Wall came out, and In Through the Outdoor, and The Cars, and Candy O was out, and God, The Pretenders' first and second albums.
Mm.
All that stuff I love, and it's deep in me.
But that's not. I wouldn't say anything that you just listed
You don't think
to me sound like I'm trying to think
I'm
of.
not trying to emulate anything
No,
either.
not at
but
all.
yeah.
But I'm just saying that you have a very what would I liken this to? I mean, you don't sound like anybody else. You sound like yourself. But it's power pop. It's driven.
These songs are pretty songy. Here's the verse, chorus. Here's the bridge, kind of thing. They are definitely constructed as songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just the music I love, I guess.
And so the like other stuff that you've written, because to watch Celebrity Wipes Off, all you do is write music 24/7. I was thinking, God, you must have a lot of songs if you're in there 24/7.
A lot of them get thrown away.
Yeah. Can you play us anything that is not pop that you've written?
That I've written?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Not pop.
So pop is what you write.
Generally, yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's
That's
I
what
like
do.
that.
That's what I do.
It's your thing. But then there's this whole other jazz serious side to
Yeah.
you. Do you go out and
Is it
play
serious?
jazz with
Yeah.
people?
I do, yeah. I do gigs every so often, maybe once to twice a month.
Oh, really?
From Long Beach to Redondo Beach to
And like, who do you play with when you're playing jazz?
friends that I've met through jazz, whatever. We have kind of like a core group of, there's another guitar player, bass and drums, and we kind of rotate and we'll do trios and maybe a duo here or there, whatever.
And so is there a set list when you're doing jazz, or is it just?
There are certain there's what's called a fake book.
Oh, what is that?
A fake book is basically, and there's a number.
Wedding vows. It's wedding vows to me. A fake book.
There you go.
That's very nice, Pete.
These are books with standard tunes and just like maybe 1 to 2 pages of a standard tune or a modern jazz tune, and they're called fake books because initially they were put together illegally because they skirted any copyright laws and just put together for jazz musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, I want to play, out of nowhere. Okay, well, open it up, or if you don't know it, it's just in the book if somebody doesn't know it. So we'll just call tunes.
Okay.
Just call tunes.
And then basically, beyond the initial get in there, you're improvising beyond that, I'm assuming.
Exactly. So you play the tune, you play the melody, and then you're off to improvise. It's your solo for however many choruses. It's yours, and you trade off. That's like the meat and potatoes of jazz.
Wow. Okay. So if you had to name something that gives you the most pleasure to do, is that what it does that?
That is probably the closest to it's my zen.
Mm.
It's my zen. I play, and I try to play several hours a day. Every day. Still, yeah. I try to.
And you play mostly jazz when you play?
Yeah.
Solely jazz?
Yeah.
Wow.
I go in and out. Like I'll go through writing phases where I have to write. I have to see when I'm doing this, then I feel bad I'm not doing that. It's duplicitous. Mm-hmm. It's tough, man. It's
How long did it take you to write this?
I wrote that over maybe a 1.5 to 2 year period, and recorded it.
I wanted to ask you about that, about it's about Passenger Seat.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was listening to Passenger Seat today, and I'm thinking, okay, what does Rob mean by that? Because the image that came into my head, because I am a Scorpio, I immediately said, oh, does he mean join me in the passenger seat, like we're going to sit together? What does it mean?
It means come with me.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Let's go.
Oh, but you're going to be in the driver's seat and she's going to be in the passenger seat? Because I thought you're both going to be in the passenger seat.
Maybe.
I kind of like it cozy.
Lyrically, when I'm writing, it's hard to be very pinpoint specific about things. It's almost general, and then I go back and say, oh, that could be, I'm talking about this, that, or the other thing. You know?
So how autobiographical is your music?
I would say it's 100% autobiographical.
I like that.
Because it's hard
So what
for me
is
to-
Trouble Again? What motivated Trouble Again?
I don't know.
What kind of trouble are we talking about?
Just inner turmoil, you know, am I doing what's right? It's just existential nonsense, you know?
No, that's not nonsense.
But
That makes sense.
Lyrically, where I come from as a writer,
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's obviously very open to interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
which are the kind of lyrics I like.
Yes.
I mean, I also love storytelling lyrics, but I'm not.
That's not your
That's
thing?
not my.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to be that, because whatever I consider not my thing is usually something I wish I could do, so I strive for it.
Well, but that's a good thing.
Like Bruce Springsteen, or somebody who's very storytelling and very cinematic in his writing. But mine's, I guess, more ethereal or whatever. Or, that's not the right word, but it's more interpretive.
And what comes first for you when you're writing? The lyric?
Usually a combination of the both.
Mm-hmm.
Say a melody line or something.
How did Trouble Again happen? Because, I mean, that is such a power pop tune.
I think that came about, that particular song
Mm-hmm.
was written in open G, and with open G, when you're playing open tunings, for me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the slate is clean. There's not the shapes that you normally have in a normal guitar. Here's all the E's, all the different chord shapes are right here in a normal tuned guitar. Whereas in open tuning, you just put your fingers down. It could be something. It's like, oh, cool. And then the riff came through that, and I just followed the trail.
You follow the trail, so it just kind of takes you.
Yes.
And how did lyrics, was that an organic thing or did you learn it?
No, it was organic.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's organic.
Did you write poetry when you were?
Not very well.
So you just went right into lyric writing.
Yeah.
Have you collaborated at all?
I have, over the years, sure.
Is that something that,
I
is
find
that easier, harder?
it's harder for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder for me. Depends, though. It depends on who I'm collaborating with.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about
Have
partnerships.
you and Carnie written music together?
We've tried, but we ended up fighting.
That's where I would go. That's what would happen.
I'm like, let's get to this part. No, and she's like, and I just get mad and frustrated and just walk away. It's like, this ain't happening. Someday.
But and yet you guys collaborate a lot
Oh, yeah,
musically.
with Wilson Phillips, yes.
Yeah, we'll get to how the Wilson Phillips thing happened. Okay, so you're in high school. You have this band. You're gonna go to Berklee College of Music. When you're at Berklee, are you playing out?
No. When I went to as soon as I got to Berklee, it was like I dove into the deep end. Because all the players around me just were light years better than me. I thought I was pretty good, going in. You go in with
You
the
got
ego.
in.
I did get in, but
Yeah.
They'll accept anybody.
No, they don't.
Maybe not. But I think you go in with a certain ego,
Mhm.
and then if you allow it to go and just let it, then you become a sponge, and you really, that was my attitude after about the first 2 weeks of being there.
That's conservatory, isn't it?
Is it a conservatory?
Is it conservatory? I
I
don't
don't know what that means. What does that mean?
What it means is that you can get cut if you don't make the cut. Is Berklee like that?
I'm sure you
Do
can
people-
flunk it out.
I mean,
think.
because conservatory education is like if each year they like reevaluate who gets to stay.
No,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
not like that.
Okay.
It's much more contemporary music, and there's a lot of different things. Like you can be a music production and engineering major, but you still have to have a
So
principal
you were
instrument.
jazz guitar.
I wanted to do nothing but jazz, guitar. That was my thing. That was it.
But I assume you learned you did other genres as well when you were there. No.
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 Just
Straight
jazz.
up jazz guitar.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't listen to the radio for 4 years.
What?
Yeah, this is 1986 through 90. There wasn't much good on the radio anyway, so I didn't listen to pop radio. I mean, peripherally if it was on, but I did not.
Wow.
No, I immersed 100%.
Wow. And you're playing all day and night, and you're playing all the time, and you're not playing out. You're just focused on.
I wasn't playing out because I wasn't ready to play out.
Okay.
As
So
a jazz guitarist, some cats were and some students were, but I wasn't quite there yet.
So now, did you think when you graduated you were going to be a jazz guitarist? Was that the goal?
Mhm.
Obviously.
Mhm.
And so, how did that shift? What happened?
There was kind of a shift in music at that time, like from the 80s to the 90s, where like independent music was kind of it started to come to the surface, and I started to re-examine that stuff, like, you know.
So wait, you get out of college,
Plop back in Philadelphia.
and what's your life when you get out of
I'm like,
college?
how the hell am I gonna? What am I gonna do?
And how do you make? Do you
worked.
move back home?
My dad had a printing business,
Okay.
and I worked there.
Printing business, right?
Printing, yeah.
Smoky. And
So thank God, because it really saved me.
okay, so you have a day job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have a day job. Are you playing out at night?
Yes, I met friends in Philly. This is the first year I got back. The last year at Berklee, I started to reemerge into the rock and roll thing again, because I was doing some recitals with other people at the school who were doing more pop stuff, and I was just taking whatever I could by the end of my tenure there.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of opened my eyes, because I could still play rock, but it
But
wasn't
you
my
have
interest.
this whole big hole of time that you didn't know the music of 4 years.
I didn't
of
want to know
time.
the music. I didn't
Yeah,
care to.
yeah.
Not that I didn't know. I mean, I knew metal was going on and hair bands, but I didn't care. It wasn't.
Uh-huh.
John Coltrane was a lot more interesting to me than Warrant.
Okay.
Sorry, but
Uh-huh.
all that shit was just. That was stuff. That was life stuff. There,
Right.
that's the music that you take to the grave. Not Rat. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure they're great, but you know. So anyway, around that time, Boston was also a pretty thriving town, because the Pixies were coming out. This is pre-Nirvana, just slightly pre-Nirvana, when they changed the whole industry. But the Pixies were cool at the time, and some other Boston bands I can't think of off the top of my head. It was just kind of cool. I mean, and my ears. And I also worked at Strawberries Records in Kenmore Square for a year. So we were right next door to a place called the Rat, and the Rat was like the CBGBs of Boston.
Oh wow. Okay.
So when we would close. I think we would close at 11 or midnight, and I would hear the music next door, and it was just like.
Crazy ass shit.
Punk shit. I remember like Gigi Allen came into our store one time, just crazy stuff. But I got reacquainted to the.
Well, if you're working in a record store, you're
Yeah,
knowing
well,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
music.
So Guns N' Roses was out, and I remember the playlist well. The Church.
Bon Jovi was really big then, weren't they? Or was it past Bon
Yeah,
Jovi?
no, this is about that time.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
Guns
on
N'
the
Roses were
playlist, thank
huge,
God.
yeah.
That was slightly after Guns N' Roses, but I remember hearing like the Church. Remember that band, Starfish?
No.
They had a song called
Do you know them, Pete?
Under the Milky Way was the name of this. Under the Milky Way tonight, and I wish I knew what I was looking for. It was a really cool tune.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
It was kind of like English pop, English
Right,
whatever,
very much.
and that was on the play. That's where my ears started to perk up, and I was like, I like this stuff, you know. So I started getting to like that stuff again. And so by the time I was out of Berklee, I was in a band in New York City, and I would drive back from Philadelphia back and forth, and
Oh, wow.
we were a band. It was cool. We
And
played-
so where are you playing in New York?
Man, we played CBGBs, and we played. God, where else did we play? Did we play the Mercury Lounge?
What year? When was
This
this?
is 1990, 91.
I was a rock promoter in New York then.
Nice.
Could have played for me.
It's
Could
very
have happened.
possible.
It's
Very
possible you
possible.
did. Wow.
So anyway, that fell apart or whatever. And so a couple years later, I answered an ad or I placed an ad. I don't remember which it was. Looking for a band. I wanted to be in a band again because guitar rock was really. Matthew Sweet was out at the time. He was big, and just that sound. Like it's Beatles, but it's like it harkens back to my sensibilities as a musician growing up as a kid. Songs, man, songs and guitars. I love it. This is great. What could be better than this? And I'll play jazz too, and I did. But so anyway, I placed
So
this
you're
ad.
playing like at the Blue Note and stuff like that as well?
No. The Blue Note.
No.
That's
Okay.
a
Now,
service.
yeah, but
Not
what was
yet.
what was like the village, like the Vanguard?
I was there going to see shows,
okay,
yes,
yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. In the 55 bar in the Village on Christopher Street. I used to see a guy named Mike Stern play there all the time, and Wayne Krantz, all these great.
So you're not
players.
playing out jazz?
I did a few gigs in Philly, yeah. Just restaurant gigs and whatever. But I mean, these were high level guys.
Yeah.
Still aspiring to be. but I would, as a fan, I would go and see these shows. Still, of course, I still have, my love was still there. That's when things became duplicitous, and I was like, I love this and this. What am I gonna do? I'll do both.
Right. Well, it makes good sense.
Right. So anyway.
So how did One Road start to call you?
Yeah. I wanted to be in a band. I missed, because I was in this New York City band, and we broke up, and I missed it, and I wanted to keep going, and I'm learning the craft of songwriting now, and I'm whatever. And
how are you learning the craft of songwriting? Teaching yourself?
Yes,
Mhm.
teaching myself.
Mm-hmm.
Writing songs on I have a 4-track, little cheap cassette 4-track recorder.
And who are your songwriting mentors in your head that you had?
Oh, well, I mean, it was always the Beatles.
Mhm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
The Beatles and just classic rock, but also like that English pop stuff, 3.5 minutes of sheer, like the Laws were a great band, and just, I don't know, just all that stuff was great. I just absorbed it all, I think. And
What was your first, do you remember your first song?
I'm sure I've forgotten it intentionally. It was very bad stuff. I would write a lot of pieces of songs. It took me a long time to be able to finish a song, start to finish.
Do you remember the first song that you finished that you felt good about?
That I felt good about? Actually, I do remember the first song I wrote, and this was harkening back to my high school band, Triton.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a couple songs for a demo we made, and I was thinking, if I listen back, it's horrendous, it's terrible. But I mean, the spirit was there. I wanted to be good. I wanted it, I knew it wasn't good, but I tried.
But how about the first thing that you wrote that you said, yeah, this is a song. This is a pop song. This is a good pop song.
I'm my worst critic.
Yeah,
it's hard to say that this was the first good song.
What's the first thing of yours that you recorded?
Start to finish?
Mm-hmm.
I co-wrote songs in Wanderlust.
Okay.
I mean, and those were good songs,
How much later is Wanderlust?
This was 90. I joined in 1993.
And how did that happen?
I placed an ad in a newspaper, or either, I can't remember, I think I placed it and they answered it looking for a guitarist. Because I was like, a guitarist looking for a band in the style of blah, blah, blah.
You're in New York?
No, I'm in Philly.
You're in Philly.
This was just in
this.
Philly,
Okay.
Philly trade, whatever. It was called, what was it called? The Penny Pincher or something.
Yeah.
The Trading Times. It was the Trading Times.
Uh-huh.
And they answered the ad, and I went down, and they were in the center city, and we played, and it was magic right there, and we gelled instantly, and we played a lot and everywhere.
So what kind of venues are you playing with these guys?
Coffee houses, acoustic. We did.
So you're playing acoustic, okay.
Doing a lot of, well, not only acoustic, but as a.
How many pieces are you?
4-piece, 2 guitars, bass, drums. And we went to New York City a lot. Played there's a place called the Downtime. We played a lot.
I know Downtime.
Remember that place? I don't know if there's
I
still
almost
there.
booked it. Yeah.
We in Philadelphia. We played a place called Dobbs, J.C. Dobbs on South Street, and it was just the quintessential rock club. This is where Pearl Jam played there before they broke, and Nirvana played before they broke big.
Wow.
It was it was just a cool rock room, sweaty, and we started to eventually just packing the place on the weekends.
Oh wow!
Packing it.
So now, are you doing that from your effort, or are you doing it because you're just gaining fans?
We're gaining fans because we're good and we're we're overly confident about ourselves.
And what kind of can you play a Wanderlust song? A piece of one?
I don't want to.
A piece. I mean, I have no idea what the music was. So
it was Beatle influenced power pop.
Okay.
Alternative rock
Okay.
guitars. We had Rickenbacker guitars out of AC30 Vox AC30. I still have these instruments too, and we were just loud and proud.
Loud and proud.
But harmonically, a lot of harmony and a lot. It was very musical.
How many part harmony were you guys?
Just 2.
2 is good.
It was just 2-part harmony, but it was good. It was good stuff. And so eventually, 8 months, we kind of honed we likened ourselves to being like the Beatles from when they were a skiffle band to Abbey Road. Like we lived that in 6 months.
Okay, what's skiffle band?
Skiffle was what the Beatles were before they. Skiffle was it's like an offshoot kind of rockabilly where it's just real homegrown, just like a wash tub bass thing. Just, you can play a washboard or something. Just very
Basic.
I don't.
Yeah.
Real basic, and that's
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
Beatles, how the Beatles started as a skiffle band. And we likened our evolution to that within like a 6 month to 1 year time period. We really grew.
So you got serious. It just had a life of its own.
We had a lot of
which made
friends,
you-
and we were just a very dynamic unit on stage.
Mm.
And just as a live band, we were really good.
Okay, so you're playing the venues, and
Yes.
what happens? How do you get signed?
We got signed. We played a JC Dobbs show.
Mhm.
This was, I want to say, was this in 1994? Late 94.
Mhm. Do you still have a day job?
Yeah, I'm still working with that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the day I got signed, and I'm like, bye. Well, no, wait, because my dad sold the business, but I was still working there under another guy,
Mhm.
and it was just like, it wasn't the same, like, you can get away with shit with your 20-year-old
Oh,
dad.
yeah.
Come in at noon, and I did.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get away with shit with this new owner. So I remember, like, we just got signed, and this is
Gave you
this is
notice.
my 1 day notice. I'll see you. And literally, I was the last day I worked. The next day, we were in the studio making our record for RCA.
Wow.
It was a magical time.
And so okay, so you make your first record,
Yes.
and how do you open for the Who? How the hell does
No.
that happen?
That was it was a circumstantial thing. This is a couple of years, maybe 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
We were booked through Premier Entertainment or Premier, whatever they were, and they also booked the Who. And the Who were coming over to do Quadrophenia.
Mhm.
This was in '96,
Mhm.
so it was a big production. It had Billy Idol was in it, and Gary Glitter before he went to jail. This had like Simon Townsend, Pete's brother was playing. It was a big thing.
Wow.
Like Billy Idol was Bellboy, and it was a whole production. Like the first time they were touring
Wow.
Quadrophenia in this manner. And there's a band called Ocean Color Scene, or a British band who had chosen to tour the States with. And their first show was in Landover, Maryland. It was outside of Baltimore, I remember. And Ocean Color Scene were not able to get visas, or something happened and they couldn't get over. And so we got the call from Premier. You guys want to open for the Who? And we were just like, what?
Okay, so what venue was that?
It was the USA Arena in Landover, Maryland.
How many people are we
I
talking?
think it was about 11,000.
I'm assuming it was the biggest show that you played to date.
No,
No?
we played an outdoor show in Detroit that was what, 50,000 or so.
Oh my
But it wasn't
God.
our show. It wasn't at South. It was like an all-day festival kind of thing.
But still.
But still,
Okay,
11,000 people in an arena. Yeah, that was the first.
Okay, so wait. So let's go back to the 50,000.
Yeah.
What's it like the first time you walk out on stage and that's going on out there?
We were on tour, so it was just like one thing after the next. It was one of those radio things where they used to have all-day events,
Right.
with all these bands that had hits on their playlists or whatever, and that's what it was. It was one of those things, and it was in Detroit.
So you do like 3 songs or something?
We did. No, I think we did a set, like
Yeah.
a half an hour set,
Mm-hmm.
and then after us was like, I don't know who it was, whoever it was, Better Than Ezra or somebody, whatever.
So the tour you were on, what kind of venues were you playing out on tour?
We did our own tour, club tour,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of brought us from Philly all the way out to about Denver and back. Okay, and then we picked up Collective Soul Tour.
Oh,
And they
nice.
had just come out with their second album, which was huge. They
Mhm.
sold I don't know how many millions of records. And they loved us and they took us out. And so we were out with them for a few months.
And what kind of venues are you playing with them?
With them we were playing theaters, like 1,500 to 3,000 seat places.
Nice.
Colleges,
Mm-hmm.
outdoor things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a blast.
And how are the audiences to the opening band when they're
Generally good.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Generally good.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple guys. I remember. Sorry, my finger's spinning here.
Mm-mm.
I remember one time, Scott is our lead singer. And so a lot of it rested on him. He was in the front, and we were playing. I don't know where, and it was some like biker guy was in the front, just like that, the
Oh.
whole time.
Oh, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, it sucked, but everybody else was cool. We were like, who cares? But generally speaking, the audiences were very receptive because we were like-minded bands. We were
Right.
similar.
Okay, so now you're opening for the Who in this arena.
It was only one time, but yes.
Yes.
And we videotaped the whole
you
thing.
find out you're
Story.
getting this gig,
Yes.
which has to be just.
Of course, these are our
mind-blowing,
heroes.
right?
These are our heroes, yeah.
Did you meet them?
Yes. Yes.
And what was that like?
Roger Daltrey was a sweet guy, very sweet. We took pictures with him, and And I remember we were in our dressing room, and Pete Townsend kind of stuck his head in. He's like, "How you guys doing?" And we were trying to say something like, "I love you, Peter," and he couldn't hear a thing, so he was just like, and he walked out. But we took a liking to Don Entwistle was still alive, and his girlfriend. She took a liking to us, and we just hung out with her. And then we went after the show. We went to a bar and we were hanging out with John Entwistle.
Oh my God!
Oh, it's surreal. You know, it was all surreal. We did our little half-hour set, and people were cool, and they cheered, and nobody booed us, which thankfully, and that was it. I just remember it was very echoey and loud. And just like, oof, it's very different from what we're used to. You know?
Wow, very cool. Okay, so you guys are playing. So how does the band fall apart? What happens? Why no more?
The label really kind of.
Does your album do well?
Does okay. We never had a video. And this was in the age, this was the heyday of video.
Yeah.
They didn't want to give us a budget for a video. They didn't. I don't know why. Whatever their reasoning was. And RCA at the time was just turning over people. So like there's a new boss, and then our priorities got whatever. So we spent the next like year and a half in the studio making a second album. And by that time, like, we were at each other's throats. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, it's your, you know, it's like
it's your
misplaced
fault.
aggression, and
Sure.
things aren't happening the way we want it. It's just typical shit. And, you know, I wanted to write more. I knew I wasn't, you know, I was still
Were you
learning.
writing songs for the band?
Co-writing. I wasn't writing songs on
Okay.
I was writing songs on my own, yes, I was, but I was learning. It was still a learning process for me. And in retrospect, yeah, I probably wasn't in the position to be, you know, demanding that I write my own songs or have my own side of the album kind of thing, however much I wanted that. So, you know, and it just became acrimonious, and we just split up, and we didn't talk to one another for 10 years.
Oh.
Mostly me. I didn't talk to the other guys. And that's the way it was. We went our separate ways.
And how did that fence get mended?
It was just time to put water under the bridge, and you start to forget the bullshit and all the nonsense that went on, and you start to be sentimental about the great times we had and how magical it was, and wow, it was rare that we had this. And it really was rare. I mean, the chemistry we had was rare, and I think it was even mentioned back in the day when we were together, like, this is probably the best it's going to be, guys, you know, talking amongst ourselves. And it was kind of true in terms of a musical, true collaboration, true 4 pieces bigger than the song.
And were they friends and playing together before you came into the band?
Shortly, very shortly.
So it all just came together for this.
Yeah. Yeah. It was all
Divinely guided.
We were kids, man. I mean, it's just like looking back at pictures from when we first started. We were very young, mid-20s, but you know.
Yeah, no, that's pretty young.
Yeah.
So what happens when you guys break up? What are you doing then?
I didn't know what to do. It was really, things crashed down, and I just joined.
How were you making a living?
I was doing temporary work, working like phone. I was house painting, which is okay. I did that for 2 years, made good money, and learned a skill. All that time I started gestating like songs and songwriting and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it and how I wanted to say it. And I don't have the restraints of this band.
So was it a liberation, or was it oh my God, we failed? What was it? Both? Was it?
It was a slow crumbling. Like, we broke up, and then we kind of got back together, but it wasn't the same. We had a different drummer, and then it wasn't the same. And then the original drummer came back, and we toured, went to Europe, and played a few things. And then it just all fell apart because trust fell apart. Trust between myself and some other members.
And so when it fell apart, did you feel like the best was yet to come, or did you feel like, oh my God, was that like the best it's ever going to be? Or did you have both stuff going on? Or did you have confidence that you were going to find your way?
No, I was shattered for a while. It really I was teaching guitar, I was doing things, but I was really empty inside. Like, I needed to have, and doing the painting and all that stuff, like I said, it gave me time to really just be alone and zen out and determine what I want to do, how I want to do it. And I think I started to grow as a songwriter. I started to write more songs at that time. And
were you recording your stuff? Were you making demos and stuff, or were you?
Yeah, I was making demos.
Mm-hmm.
Demos at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Carnie around that time.
Okay,
You know,
so
we were both. She had just come out of a long-term relationship. I had come out of this thing and out of a relationship, and we just had a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So
So you moved out to LA?
no,
Oh,
she moves to Philly.
she moves to Philly.
Yep.
Wow, you got some power there, my friend. Holy moly.
Yes, she went to Philly for a year,
Uh-huh.
and
And what are you guys doing when she's in Philly?
we lived in a town called Manayunk,
Mm-hmm.
which was charming. I loved it.
Mhm.
We lived on a street called Davis Street, and it was at the top. Manayunk is very hilly. It's all row homes. I don't know if you.
Uh-huh.
Some people don't know what row homes are.
No, yeah, they're all the same.
Place,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we lived in a cool row home,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a quaint little. It was our place, you know, and we had to park at the street. The parking was tough, and the snow was a pain in the ass, but we.
And so how
Got
are
that.
you like making a living and
I was
are
still
you,
painting.
you're still painting,
yeah.
and are you playing do you have a band? Are you
Yeah,
playing?
I was playing in a band.
And what is she doing music at this time?
No.
No, she's not.
No, she wanted desperately to get Wilson Phillips back together. This was prior to that,
Mm-hmm.
just prior to that.
So she's being a domestic goddess?
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
It's funny because she would be upstairs cooking, I'd be in the basement writing songs, and it was really, it was a
Yeah.
cool time. It was
Yeah.
a happy time, yeah.
Yeah. How soon did kids come? Not yet.
Not till 5 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you spend a year.
Spent a year there, and then, you know, we were going back and forth to California. We got married out here, but moved back there. I mean, not moved back there, but got married out here, went back home.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready for a change. She was ready to go back, and that's when we came back.
Okay, so you come to LA.
Yeah.
And
I have about 10 songs that I was ready to shop around and try to. So I put a band together and almost got signed to Hollywood Records. Almost. They gave me money, but it didn't happen.
Oh, really?
And so that didn't happen initially. This was 2001, 2002. And this is also 9/11 happened, and then everything kind of went to shit. Like the music industry really started to. So then I ended up writing more songs, and around 2003 or 4, through a manager that I had, I met a producer named Sylvia Massey, who had a studio up in Northern California. She's great. She's engineered like Tool and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Mm-hmm.
She was on Wildflowers, Tom Petty's Wildflowers, as an engineer somewhere. So she's just great, great geared, cool studio, and I went up there and made a record. This was in 2004. I spent about 6 weeks up there and did my first album up there. And right around that time, Carnie got pregnant with our first baby. So it all kind of like whatever. So and then I ended up releasing that record through an independent label, and that was my first. It was under a band, but it was my solo album. It was called The Skies of America. That was kind of like the band name, but it was just me. And that was my first album.
Did you go out and support?
I did,
it?
yeah. We toured for about 2 months,
6
6 weeks, 2 months, in a trailer. You know, and it was fun. It was really fun, and I was like, this is my band now. This is what I'm gonna do now, and it felt great. And from there, I just started making albums on my own.
And then when did the Wilson Phillips things happen?
Okay, so yeah, this was around 2003 that they decided to regroup, and they did a record called California, which Peter Asher produced, and I just played with Peter Asher 2 weeks ago, so it all came right.
I don't think we talked about that on the air. We'll get to the Flower Power tour and all that. Yeah.
So they made this California record, and they were going to tour. We did some shows. I was in the band.
So how does that happen? The nepotism thing, like, was there any pushback? Was it just, yes, Rob, yeah, come be in the band? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I don't think there was pushback because I was capable.
Yeah.
You know, I think that maybe from an outsider you could say, oh, well, look at the gig you got because you're blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm close to it. But
You gotta.
You still got to
You gotta have the
represent.
goods. Yeah.
Exactly. We did TV and stuff, you know, and I was backing them on acoustic guitar. So if I sucked, it would have been pretty apparent. I don't think I sucked though.
No, I don't think
Thankfully.
so.
Thankfully.
But you're not the musical director initially, or are you? Right away.
It wasn't really a full band initially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was 2004-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just doing acoustic things, if I recall. I think we had a band. Actually, no, we did have a band. We did a pier at the Santa Monica Pier.
Mm-hmm.
We did a concert there, but the band was my band.
Oh.
We were a good band. We backed, and yeah.
What, is somebody asking a question?
No, I just saw Peter.
Peter Asher, yeah.
Oh, that's you, Vicki.
You with Peter Asher? No.
And Thomas Walsh.
Not me.
I was with Peter Asher,
You were
and
with
I'm
Peter
friends
Asher.
with Thomas Walsh.
Yeah, it's not me. Wrong name. But right information though.
Right information.
Um,
So everybody got pregnant,
everybody got pregnant.
and that album got shelved. I mean, it was released, but the tour wasn't no tour because everybody got pregnant in that band. Everybody.
Wow.
Craziness. So yeah, it's funny. What happened after that?
Is this the second child for you?
No, this is the
This
first.
is your
This
first
still
child. Oh, okay.
Well, no, because she was not pregnant yet, but her sister got pregnant. So that kind of put a kibosh on the plans to promote this record.
Yeah.
But it was still released, but whatever. What happened after that? I can't remember. So it's 2005. Okay, so my album came out. It was recorded in 2004, but released in 2006, and I toured in 2006. And I guess we just had the baby in 2005. Yeah, 2005. So we had a newborn in 2005. That's what I was doing for a year.
Yeah.
And writing a new record, an album for that after that. And then what happened? And I think right around when I went on tour for my record in 2006 was when they decided to put the band together for Wilson Phillips. Okay. And I was on tour, so I couldn't be in the very initial beginning of it. But then when I came back, I was the guitar player, and there's another great guitarist named Troy Dexter who's still in the band. He's an incredible musician. And we kind of shuffled around players and whatever. And
So now everybody's got newborns. How are you doing this?
I don't even know.
I mean, that's like, so, like, how do you go out on tour?
There's a lot of
when you've got-
pushback for like, we don't really want to go on. Come on, we gotta work. Let's go. It's not like we're all
Do you
rich
take
here.
the babies with you? You
No.
have people that take care of the babies.
We
while you
didn't.
guys...
There was never a time when we were out for stretches of time. on
I
tour.
see.
They're like maybe weekends.
I see.
Unfortunately, I wish it were different. I wish we had gone out for longer, and I wish we still do that, but we don't.
When does Bridesmaids happen?
Bridesmaids was 2013, maybe.
Because that's a life changer right there.
Yeah, so
Right.
it pushed the price up for Wilson Phillips.
Oh,
and,
hell yeah.
A lot more offers.
And
came out.
like I was saying when Harry was here earlier, you know, it's like that's how they know Wilson Phillips.
It's interesting
from
the
Bridesmaids.
younger, whatever, the next gen or whatever. next generation.
He's about to be 25. My daughter's 21. That's how they know Wilson Phillips from the movie.
It's funny, when I first got out of Berklee and was working at my dad's print shop, that's what was on the radio. Hold on.
Oh God.
I didn't like it. I was a jazz bow.
Oh, that's so funny.
But no, I learned to love it. So yeah, we're still doing it. We're still doing that sporadic dates here and there.
Yeah, I was listening to, or Carnie was, maybe it was on Celebrity Wife Swap still, which is a few years ago, and she was saying that she had just come back from 10 days on the road, and right before you did that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't remember.
And so those things still happen, that you go out for a spurt and
Yep.
and
Not enough though, guys. We got to work more. We got to work more, please.
And so you have like a sort of storied father-in-law.
Yes. Yes, I do.
So, and he's got an interesting story.
Oh, I sure does.
So what's it like when you meet Brian and he wasn't playing back then? He wasn't playing out back in those days, was he?
He had just started.
Oh, he had just started playing. Okay.
Yeah, that was when he just began. And it might have been just prior to that too.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because they started around 2000. I want to say 1999, 2000. Yeah.
And so what was your personal relationship like when you met him?
This is Brian Wilson. it's surreal,
Yeah.
but you know.
I mean, is he just your father-in-law? He's Brian Wilson.
He is that.
You know, it's like, do you just sit around and like shoot the shit?
You can't sit. Well, yeah. I mean, it's surreal. I couldn't really put. I couldn't. If I really let it all sink in, it'd be too much. My head would explode.
Mm-hmm.
I can only compartmentalize it. It's like, that's Carnie's dad. Yeah, that's Carnie's dad. But yeah, he also did all. Oh yeah, what? It's just like a lot of wow, head spinning.
And so, how do you end up playing with him?
That didn't come out till years later.
How does that opportunity happen?
I've grown through the years to know the band well.
Mm-hmm.
Darian's a wonderful, wonderful cat, man, great player, sweet guy, and all the guys in the band are so great.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just always see them because we would go to shows and hang out backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always like a thing like, when are you going to be in the band? I was never in the band because there was never an opening.
Ah.
These guys were with them for 20 years. I'm not going to shove anybody out. It's not this is
Was
you guys'
Brian
deal.
well aware of what you were doing because he knew?
I don't know.
Uh huh.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never pushed it. I don't know. You know, that's not a thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't push whatever.
Uh huh.
Because I'm the son-in-law. Here's my music. Listen.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. I never wanted to be that kind of guy. But it just so happened that last year the opening came up, and I was the guy they called. So, and it was tremendous. I mean.
And I heard, like, you were singing a lot of those Beach Boy high harmonies,
Yes.
a lot, and lead.
I sang a lot of lead songs.
You sure do.
I took the high spots, and it was something that struck me with great fear.
I can imagine.
Not that I can't. I didn't.
You got the chops, but
I got the
still,
chops,
you're doing
but
it with
I
Brian
have to
Wilson.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to be pro and do your job.
And so what was it like doing that first show with him?
A little scary,
Yeah.
because it was a Pet Sounds show. We had to do the whole album Pet Sounds.
Gosh.
So it was like jumping into the deep end. Because
Absolutely.
we didn't have a whole lot of rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
This was for the Christmas tour too, so we
Mhm.
did a lot of Christmas stuff later on.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn a lot of stuff, Pet Sounds to greatest hits to Christmas stuff. I just immersed myself, and there were moments of like, I can't do this. I can't do it.
I get it.
It's funny because in LA, just here in LA is where I was working up, and there were times I just couldn't reach the note. But once we were out on the road and outside of this town, it's like for whatever reason the air, I could just bam.
No kidding.
Never got tired. My voice never tired.
How interesting. Is it the smog? What is it?
I don't know.
That's
Maybe.
so weird.
I don't know. But I surprised myself, and I did a good job. I think.
And so did Brian ever tell you did a good job? Is he that kind of guy?
I was told I did a good job. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was told,
Mm-hmm.
and I could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt good. It felt good. I knew when I wasn't quite on, and I knew you're always hyper focused and hyper aware of what you do. But I'm just one piece of the huge puzzle.
Right.
I do gotta carry a lot of stuff, a lot of very important parts.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still just a piece of this whole thing. So
Mhm.
I gotta be good for everybody else and myself. And I'm good in that respect. I can really hyper focus and beyond.
What sign are you? When's your birthday?
I'm a Leo on July 24th.
Okay. Hyper focus. So now, how did the Wild Honey thing happen for you? How did that association?
Yeah. And I love those guys dearly.
So let's explain what Wild Honey is for the people.
Wild
out there.
Honey is a group, a collective of LA-based musicians, all great, highly accomplished players, and we all kind of gather around Paul Rock, there's a foundation called the Autism Think Tank, and every year we do a big show that benefits the Autism Think Tank, and Paul Rock is like he's the
Rock.
He's the Rock. He is the Rock. He's the central galaxy, the central black hole around the galaxy.
They
in which
just
we
found
form.
the black. They
I
found the
know.
black hole today.
I
They're
love
like,
this stuff
it's
too.
crazy.
I could talk about that for 5. I love this. That's you should see the YouTube stuff I do at night. It's mathematics and black hole stuff for whatever reason.
Okay.
I love it.
All right.
Weird stuff. I know.
I don't understand any of it, but I think it's really cool.
So anyway, okay, Wild Honey. So David Jenkins is also one of the spirits.
Hi, David.
He's a mensch. He's the greatest guy in LA.
That's-
He brings so many people together, and he's just he's the centrifugal whatever that. He's just a great guy, and he kind of got me into that because I think I knew him from True Tone. Just he knew some guys from Wanderlust, and we just knew each other peripherally. We were Facebook friends.
True Tone is the music store.
True Tone
yeah.
in Santa Monica, yeah. And I think.
So how long have you been doing Wild Honey?
3 or 4 years now.
Okay.
I did 3 shows with him so far,
Mm-hmm.
and I love everybody there. I love everyone. So
The concerts are amazing. This year, the Kings.
concert, yeah.
This was my favorite of the 3 that I've seen.
We did Village Green Preservation
It was-
Society and a bunch of songs that surrounded that. And
Pretty
Andrew Sandoval, who's an integral part of this organization as well, he curated the box set that was the Kinks Village Green Preservation Society re-release, which is just an exquisite thing on music. It's just like, wow. And he's a big part of it. And also, I gotta give my love to Jim Laspiza, because Jim plays drums in Wild Honey and is a dear friend of mine. He's also in my band, and we're on the Brian Wilson band together. And
Oh, wow.
He's my buddy, and he really championed me, and he's the brother from another mother.
I love it. And so what haven't you done that you'd still love to do? Is there anything? Are you happy doing what you're
Everything.
Are you happy doing what you're doing?
I
Could you
wanna play-
keep doing this?
Oh yeah, I'm happy to do just this.
Mm-hmm.
However, no, I mean, I'm never 100% satisfied.
But you still go out and do jazz gigs.
Absolutely, I want to play New York Jazz Club someday. But that's you got to be in that. You got to immerse yourself 1,000%. It's hard to do when I'm duplicitous like this, like I keep saying. But I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna drop dead. I'm gonna with the guitar in my hands. They're gonna
So
find me dead.
I have some friends that do that thing in New York, like Will Lee and Jimmy.
I love Will. I
Villa.
met Will Lee just recently.
Oh,
Do you
yeah?
know David Maida?
I don't know David.
David books the Iridium,
Okay.
and we were there to see Steve Lukather, who was a friend as well, who
Uh-huh.
I love dearly. He's one of a kind. There's no one like him. It was Steve and Will Lee and
I saw that Will was playing with Steve.
yeah, and Keith Carlock, the drummer, the great drummer. He's a jazz cat as well, but he's out of Steely Dan now.
Mm-hmm.
Another dude that does jazz and he does rock as well. So, and I saw them play, and as a keyboard, I can't remember the keyboard player's name, but they were just unbelievable.
I saw him play with Jeff Young recently with Osnoy, who's a new.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's another monster.
Yeah, he is quite the guy.
But anyway, so I just met Will
Nice.
recently.
It was a
We
dream.
took pictures together. Great guy. What a great guy. Wow, what a storied career that man has had. I mean, he was in a band called Dreams way back when,
Yeah,
1970,
was
69,
yeah.
with Michael Bradford Brothers, and I forget who else was there. Wow, incredible. But
It is
yeah,
incredible. So you've still got a lot. You've still got a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to play the New York Jazz Clubs, man.
And how about are you out supporting Trouble Again? You're not playing out?
I want to be. I've been busy. I've been doing like gigs, like doing other things, like this cruise ship.
So talk about the cruises you
Okay,
just
so I just got off the 70s rock and romance and the 60s flower power. These are two separate
Okay,
theme
so
cruises.
wait, they're different because one is 70s, one is 60s?
The themes are different, and the
Okay.
passengers disembark and they come on. It's a whole different. Some stay for both, but
Okay.
it just so coincided that they were back to back and on the same ship, so we didn't have to pick up and move somewhere else.
Okay. Was it all the same musicians on both?
We were, I think there's a few people that stayed on for both, but
Okay.
no, not in terms of headliners. Like it's very different. Like Foreigner was on for the 70s. Leo Sayer, Gino Vanelli was there, and then for the 60s one, Mike Love's Beach Boys were a part of it.
Uh-huh.
Cal Sills were there.
Oh, so that's why John Calsa was there to play with because he was doing
exactly.
the Beach Boys thing.
Exactly,
right?
and he didn't
Okay.
play with the Cal Sills. He
Oh, I
only
thought
watched.
he did.
No, he was just in the audience.
Wow.
Yes,
That's crazy.
the Family Stone were there. I think it's
Mm.
Sly and I forget what his wife's name was, and their daughter run an incredible band. So anyway, we were kind of like the house band.
Oh.
Like we did our own sets. We did
Mhm.
a Badfinger set for the 70s. We did a Bookends, the Simon Garfunkel album start to finish for the 60s one. We did Deja Vu start to finish. We backed the great singer Cara Lee, who did a Stevie Nicks set for the 70s cruise,
Mhm.
and then we backed her doing a Janis Joplin set for the 60s cruise.
Wow.
And then our main focus there was backing Peter Asher. So there's Peter Asher comes into the picture.
Now, how does your relationship with Peter Asher, how did that start?
How did it start? Well,
Yeah.
I credit his musical director, Jeff Ross, who's my good friend, for getting me into that organization. But I knew Peter from the Wilson Phillips when he produced their album in 2004. That's when I met him. And I just joined the band.
So like doing these gigs,
Yeah.
it's fun, right?
Oh my God, I love it. This is my life.
Yeah.
I love it.
You're
I
playing
live
all
and
this
die for
great
this.
music. Yeah.
It was so much work in preparation to get all those charts together and get all that music. And we did 10 different sets of
Right,
music.
you're the house band. So
We were
you
kind of
really-
the house band. We
you have
had
a lot of
maybe
work.
200 songs
Oh, wow.
from everything, from Herman's Hermits to Sarah by Fleetwood Mac. Everything.
And you're playing 3 shows a day?
About 3 shows
Yeah.
a day,
Wow.
2-3 shows a day.
Mhm.
It's all day, every day.
Wow.
And it's like, I live and die for it. It's my thing. That's what I love. This is what I always wanted to do. So I'm just grateful
Living the
for
dream.
the dream is what you make of your life. What's the
Life is
dream?
good.
Of course I want to do more. Of course I want to go back out with Brian again. Of course I want to play New York City jazz clubs. Of course I want to, there's too much, there's so much, and I want to make another record again. And I feel guilty that I'm doing so many gigs that I haven't had time to write, so that voice inside of me is just like always there. You're
That's
not
good.
doing enough.
Well, that's not good. I hear that, but
I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
People artists understand that you're not good enough. You're not. It's a low self-esteem thing to the deepest core of it all. But
it's
you
what
gotta
makes great art,
You
probably.
gotta make lemonade out of lemons.
So before we go, Rob, I would love for you to play us out with something.
Sure.
Something that I don't know, something that thrills you, that you love.
Well, I'll play something from the album.
Yeah, definitely. What do you want to play?
Let's play Passenger Seat.
Oh yay! I was hoping you were going to play that.
Should I play Passenger Seat?
I love that.
All right. I'll try. I'll play some of it. I don't want to play the whole thing because
All right, play what you want to play.
I'm still in Stevie Nicks land.
Yeah.
I'll play Dreams for you.
You can play a little. You don't want to play a cover. You want to play you.
All right. So how does this go again? Shit.
Wait, before you play, Pete, are there any questions that we should ask Rob before we go?
There may be one. Let's see.
There's a lot of comments, but people aren't asking questions.
Did you ever get discouraged while in your career?
Discouraged every day.
Yep.
Every day. It's like, well, at this point, I'm like, I've already accepted my path. But for years, it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? This is just absolute self-punishment. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like, but look at the, you have good days and bad.
Yeah.
Somebody just wrote passenger seat rule. So I think, and that was
yeah.
way before you said you were going to play it.
Oh,
Any other questions, Pete? I'm just seeing comments.
One other question was, would you recommend Berklee? Someone's daughter is going to go there, maybe.
I have not been to Berklee. I mean, I graduated in 1990, okay, and it's completely changed since then. I mean, when I graduated, there was no internet, okay, so there was no smartphones or whatever. It's very, very different. But Berklee has always been at the cusp of technology and what's the latest. And they bought a bunch of new buildings and they really expanded the campus. I'd say go and check it out. I mean, just being in Boston around the greatest musicians in the world is worth it.
Pete, can you move the mic in because people are complaining about the sound again, which I didn't know.
Yeah, sounds great here.
People are saying on the thread that they're having a hard time hearing, which there's no reason for that, and maybe we can turn.
It's all the way up.
Okay, so yeah, thank you. That should not be happening. I think we're gonna have to put the mic way closer, which is crazy. Because we used to just use the iPhone 10, never had a problem with sound. I don't know what.
You gotta go back to the.
I don't know why we're having this problem, but we'll figure it out. I'm sorry, Elaine. I just saw that comment now. All right, let's see. They were just getting a lot of "I love yous." I love you. I love you. I love you.
All.
And
you're all great people. I know all you. Lovely
Sal
people.
and Mary Ellen and Paige and Michael.
Mary.
Teo. Hi, Teo.
Yes, she does, Teo.
Aw, thank
Yes, she
you,
does.
Teo. That's very sweet. Robert, and hi, Robert. Annie, Maria, Elaine, who else are we saying hi to? I don't know. Mary Ellen and Paige have a lot to say.
Ah, you guys.
They're sweeties. And,
Thank you.
but a lot of love for you.
Sweet.
And, you know, that's the thing
They're all
about
sweet.
you, Rob, that I talked about on the Facebook, but I really haven't said anything since we've,
Oh, thank you.
I'll get it for you.
Sorry.
I haven't said since we've been live on the show is that,
Thank
you know, I met you at, and Nick Guzman, I want to thank Christina and Nick because they're the reason that I met you. I went
love
to
them.
Nick's house concert.
Nick and Christina, I love, and Tony.
Just
Sweet,
an
sweet.
amazing family,
Wonderful
the
people.
Guzmans. And Nick is an amazing musician and a
amazing,
great
amazing.
singer-songwriter.
Yep.
And
He sure is.
I would never in a million years know that he was someone that had was on the spectrum of sorts.
Remarkable.
I mean, he is so incredibly talented and such a lovely
He really is.
guy. And so when I met you that day, and I want to give a shout out to Zach. I
Oh,
met
Zach.
that same day. Zach Nilsson was there playing with you guys. He
Mhm.
was playing drums. Zach, and Zach found out a couple months ago that he has cancer,
Yeah,
and he's
so-
been doing these cancer rokies. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what it's
Cancer
called.
rokies. And so every day he gets
Zach
out
is the
there.
best. He's the
He's
best.
amazing. So he gets out there and he does cancer rokies and
He does, yeah.
puts them on the Facebook, and it's
He's
fantastic.
the best.
And
Bravo.
just has a great attitude. But anyway,
Yes, he
meeting you
does.
guys, you were both just lovely. And just immediately, like, I didn't have a clue what the history was or anything. You showed up for Nick. You show up. Look at what's going on. My shirt, my boobing out.
There's a comment.
Somebody saw my boob.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. There's a comment.
Was it my mother?
No, Sal Gomez said to adjust your blouse.
Thank you, Sal.
I noticed it an hour ago, but I wasn't saying anything. I was going to move the mic.
Adjust the girls. Is that what? Adjust the girls on my
It's
shirt.
stereo.
Was it like the whole show? Was I sticking out?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I don't
Oh,
know.
come on, Pete.
I didn't even notice.
You were letting. Thank you very much.
I was
Look,
focused
now
on your hips.
The laughs are, yeah, thank you very much. My sitting down, my lips don't. My lips don't. How did I get to lips? But anyway, you are. Yeah, there is no getting sick in showbiz, and this is why you are having a career. You know?
I hope so.
Yes.
I've always considered myself a late bloomer in everything I've done. It just takes me. I take my time. I don't know what it is. That's what I've come to the realization.
I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's comforting because for a long time I thought I don't get this or whatever it is. No, I'm just slow. I'm methodical.
Mm-hmm.
You come to that realization, then you're kind of comfortable with yourself, I guess, a little more.
I don't think there's any artist that says, "Hey, I'm the shit. I'm really great."
I know some people that
Well, yeah, but I think maybe that's a lot of bravado. I don't know if
That's
anybody really
absolutely.
believes that.
it's so obviously an insecurity
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rob's going to play us out, and God, I didn't even look. I don't even remember who's going to be with us next week. But let me just take a quick look so I can say who people should come back and see next week. Oh my God, Peter Onorati is going to be here, and he cop rocked it. Well, that's before your time, but Peter's been on every single show that has ever been made. He's on like a couple right now, but he was like, he's always, he's a formidable, fantastic actor, and has done amazing work. His IMDb is like sky. But Pop Rock was a show that they incorporated music into like a cop.
I remember that, yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah,
And he was amazing. It was an
Right,
amazing
right.
show. It was short-lived and it wasn't really appreciated. It was before its time.
It wasn't that long ago, though, was it?
No, well, yeah, I think it was in the 80s. Yeah, I want to say it was in the 80s. Peter's IMDb is incredible,
Wow.
and I'm really looking forward to. And he's very, very funny, and he's very active on Facebook, and he posts a lot politically, and he's a smart guy. And anyway, I'm looking forward to chatting with him. And
Fantastic.
it took a lot to. he's busy, so I'm excited that he's coming. So and you're busy too, and so Rob's gonna play us out. And
I'll play up to the chorus.
Cool.
Passenger seat. This one I wrote this a little high, so it kind of taxes my voice, but.
Oh, I thought you were high.
No. I wrote a little high range.
Okay.
Although maybe if I was high, I would. Front door, shack floor, been around since 74. Play keep, leave the street. Yeah, you can meet me in the passenger seat. Oh, won't you meet me in the passenger seat? Windows down, mind so free. No one around. Who won't you meet me in the passenger seat? Yeah, you can meet me in the passenger seat. We're so alive. Life is sweet. Feeling fine. Who won't you meet me in the passenger seat? Yeah, you can be in the passenger seat. Who won't you be my passenger? Got a while, 50 miles, transistor radio, retro style. Cool, with summer heat. Who won't you meet me in the passenger seat? Yeah, you can be my passenger. So alive, life is sweet, feeling fine. Who won't you meet me in the passenger seat? Yeah, you can be in the passenger seat. Right on time, life is sweet, feeling fine. Whoa, who won't you meet me? Oh, you can be my passenger.
I love that song. I adore you. Thank you so much for doing
You're
this.
best.
And we've tried a couple times to
We
do
did,
this,
we
so
did.
we waited a long time, and it was worth waiting for. You were worth
Oh.
waiting for.
It was
And
worth
don't forget, you guys.
That's one of them. I'm selling a number of CDs on my site, so
Oh.
check them out.
I
That's my
listened to a
latest.
bunch of them, but Trouble Again is the new
That's
one,
the
and
latest.
this is where you can find Rob. You can take a little screenshot of that, so you don't have to spell, which is very nice.
That's right.
And Pete, thank you so much
Yay.
for doing this,
Pete.
and I adore you, Rob. And
You're the best, Vicki. Let's do it again.
let's do it again. I'm into that, and thank you all so much for tuning in. And
Thank you guys. I love you, every one of you guys.
they love you so
Love you guys.
much. You have so much
I'm
love.
very grateful to have such good friends.
It's nice, and it means did I ever make that point about what a nice guy you are? Yeah,
No.
like the nicest, and that's why good things happen to.
They say nice guys finish.
I don't believe that that's the truth, though. I do not believe that's the truth. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.